Okay, so we're going to take apart this, I suppose it's a D, or something along the lines of a D anyway, and see is there anything we can learn from it. So I'm going to split the head. Now the head appears to have been done in that sort of brown bakelite type varnish that you find on old flags. So I'm just splitting the layer of it there, and we'll see what's underneath. Whatever it is seems to have seeped through it fairly well. What's behind that? Might be else now. Okay, so we have a wing popping off. So set that off to one side. See, is this tied on two wings at the once, or is it more than one tie in? Okay, so it seems to have been tied on in more than one bunch. Okay, so the wing was tied on in two sort of layers on top of itself. What we'll do is maybe take a feather and see can we marry it to that and work out if it was two different sides of the feather or not. So we'll take a feather that has been cut here and see can we knit this to the side of it. So it doesn't want to knit to that one. Does it want to knit to that one? Yep, it does. So that suggests that it was the left hand side of a feather tied in first, but it was on this side, so that would be a tips up, a little sort of wrapped over it. So let's see what this other, the remnants of this other wing, what they were. take that and okay, so that's knitting to this side of the feather. So what it's suggesting, because they weren't tied in side by side, they were tied in on top of each other, so what it's suggesting here is that we had a slip from the left hand side of a feather as I look at it, which was tied in, and then a slip from the right hand side of the feather was tied in on top of that, rather than actually making two side by side wings directly on top. They're also sort of smallish fibres, so it suggests like something like a pre-tail kind of feather. So I'll keep on wrapping here. So there seems to be some sort of a layer of varnish in there, so again I seem to find that a bit as I dissect these flies, that they would have finished them off after the hackles and varnished it, set it aside, and then come back and put wings on later. Now, I don't know, is that an indication that it was tied by multiple people, you know, in a factory type setting where someone's job was to do tails, someone body, someone wings, possibly? Or is it a way of tying your flying stages, letting it set and making it stronger? But we have a new start again here, so that's the half hitch or the knot at the front of it we've got there. Get rid of that. Okay, so we're underneath the hackle now. So, where is the tie-in of the... That'll be interesting to see when we get down deep. So we have a hackle. Hackle pliers on that. And unwrap, so we have one turn, two turns. Are you this hackle? You are that hackle, but you've broken. So it's something like a furnace type hackle. And it has been wrapped up. Where are you starting? So you're starting from this second rib here on top, and it's been wrapped forward, and then we've had several wraps at the front, say 3 turns at the front. So let's continue to go. So we're now taking off the tie off of a tinsel of some description. So we're underneath the tinsel now. So what is the tinsel? Tinsel is an oval. 5 coming around on the 6th turn. Get it opened here and we can see what colour it was. Sometimes it's hard to tell, but that is a gold. Yep, that's a gold. I'm interested to see what it does at the back here, because this is why I'm taking this one apart, because it has a slightly unusual tag, which to me, interesting to see how they're done, but I think they have, yeah, they have. It's like a modern the way I would do something on a double or a treble for a tag. So let's take this apart. So we have some sort of a dubbing in black. It's either seal or pig. What's going on here? It's a bit odd. I wonder if it's just that it was wrapped into a lot of wax or something there. Yeah, I think it's just that the body has been pretty heavily waxed, and then that has been wrapped into it, and that has made it adhere to it, and then the thread here is pulled out of it as I've unwrapped it. So now I have some sort of like a claret. I've lost it. Where are you? There you are. This is some sort of like a scarlet or orange. Now how are you wrapping this in, or how are you tying the hackle in? Broken in there, so it's hard to tell, but I think the hackle has been tied in with separate thread. That thread has come from the front. No, it's in. I think that's in catch underneath that. Is it? Yep. So that thread has been passed under, or sorry, between the eye and the blind eye of the hook. So I think somehow there's been a bit of thread left there to tie the hackle off, and then it has been, they came forward, set the hackle on after they'd wrapped their orangey red tinsel for one or two wrap, or not tinsel, Dublin for one or two wraps. Then this other thread, wherever it had been sitting before, has then passed over that and been taken sort of like big loose spirals and then clicked in underneath the eye to catch it. So it's been left purposely just to tie in the hackle. So where did it come from? weak here. Okay, so this is the yellow dubbing coming off. So the tail, what is the tail? Tail has been tied on with very few turns. And we have the remnants of a crow feather here. And we have the remnants of another crow feather, so a double crow. Gold tinsel. And then the tail appears to be a topping. Small topping tied in by its very base. You know, this is the normal white pithy bit here. Right, so the tag on this one is what I was interested with. So what we can see here is that there's quite a few wraps of tinsel, but what they've done is they've wrapped backwards, so it's progressively getting wider and wider across the legs of the double hook here. And then when they've gotten, how many returns over here? One. On the 8th turn, what they've done is they've gone over, around, through the legs of the hook and pulled it up straight and tied it in here on this side. So that's how I would have tied my modern tags on a double a lot on normal fishing flies. So it's interesting to see that there's nothing new in fly tying. So I'll have a go, take the rest of it apart here, see what it looks like. Okay, so you can see it here in between the legs of the hook, so we take it out during that and then we can unwrap it, forwards. So, 8 turns. And you can see that's used quite a bit of tinsel, maybe even 9. So there's a good 10 centimeters or more of tinsel hanging out here just to make the tag alone. Just falling apart. So is this separate to that? And it is. So this is what I find often is that We have a different silk used as well there, which suggests that the tying on of the eyes was a totally separate process. And again, you know, was it the fly tied all in one step, or did they tie on gut eyes onto hooks and set them aside? Same way as I think that in this fly, what we've done is we've got as far as tying up past the hackle and then stopped again. So possibly your flies were tied in steps or stages. So I'm going to take this apart as well and see what we see underneath it. Okay, so I haven't seen this before. So what we've got here, which might be hard to see, is the gut. So the gut's on the bottom. It has been taken down so far, passed through the eye, or sorry, through the legs of the double, hiked up over the top, bent over, and then it has been tied on. Or tied over again, so that probably means there's no way that's going to pull out. So we'll unwrap this, so we can now see the gut folded back on the top here. And that's the first time I've ever seen that done. Keep going forward. And what I think we're going to find here is that there's no thread underneath, actually on the bear shank itself. Yeah. So where did it start? So this is also, either it's waxed differently or it's a different thread, because it's sort of like a clarity colored thing. That's probably the originals there. Getting near the front. Okay, so now we're underneath it. So what they've done is they have started off with obviously waxed your thread, and then you can see it here in very loose open turns just to get the thread to stick to it. Then we've added on our eye, and then we've started to wrap back in tight turns. We got to here, we folded that folded the gut between the hooks and over the top. So that's a very unique, I think, way of tying on an eye, which I've never seen before. So we the thing, I was actually taking this one apart because of the tag on it, but that is something that I've never seen before there. So that's probably the most interesting bit of the whole thing. So yeah, if I can get this out of it without it cracking. off you go. So if we look at this now, we can see where it has gone up through, hiked forward, obviously when it's been wet, and then bound down. So a unique way of tying in your gut. So hopefully we found some, well, we found some new interesting things. So hopefully you liked it. If you do, just like, subscribe, tell your friends, check out the other videos we got. I'm going to reconstruct this, and thanks for watching.